We are back with Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, and we got ourselves a trial. Let's take a look. So, what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, Lana? The victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time, and a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. Wow. Yeah, and only Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So, how did it go? It's as Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. Ooh, that's what I mean, Emma. Oh my god. But Lana, don't tell me you... Much to my regret, I'm as... Yeah, that makes sense. I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Yeah, this is like a 2001 game? Damn, even New Jersey still had capital punishment back then. Although, it had not actually been exercised since the 60s. Nobody wanted to be the first one to bring that back. But it is now abolished. Miss Skye? We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belonged to Officer Jake Marshall. Oh my goodness, can you believe it? What kind of trace evidence? Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. Oh, and by the way, yeah, I noticed the chat's talking about how the great Ace Attorney has been confirmed for the West. I'm quite excited about that. Starring Herlock Sholmes, and that's not a joke, because that's how they're getting around the rights issue. Phoenix Wright's, I was going to say descendant, ancestor, I believe. And I think there's like a not Watson name as well, which is kind of funny. Oh, that's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall? Hey, I mean, I threw old lady Windbag under the bus in a previous case just to buy myself some time, so... okay. We have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Skye? Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. It's so weird being against Edgeworth again. And Edgeworth's going after his own boss. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow. This is one messed up trial. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. Oh my goodness. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Now that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things. Yeah, well, you were here the other day, right? Even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. Yeah, that's our entire MO as well. And that's supposed to be an admirable trait? Very well, let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Yes. Yeah, that would be what a suspect is, sir, in a murder case. The one we suspect. Oh boy. Things are getting wild from the get-go. Hey! God, this is awkward. This is the guy that Edgeworth refused to get a message from, and it cost him dearly last time. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yes, sir! I am Officer Mike Meekins, sir! My occupation is, that would be... murderer? What? Oh! Well, alright. Okay. Thank you everybody for joining the stream. Have a wonderful night. We've resolved this game. We nailed it. Hello there, Talon Sarin. Sorry. This guy's the murderer. We did it. Chapter 5. It's over. So you're telling us you're a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir! Wait, oh, he's really... I thought he slipped his tongue. He's doubling down on it. What? I did not expect this. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You gotta believe me, sir. Actually, what we'd like to hear from you is, sir, I'm what you would call part of the younger generation, sir. A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Help me, sir. Officer Meekins. Yes, sir. Give us your report of the crime. Consider that an order. Yes, sir, as you wish. After all, I am part of the generation that must be told what to do, sir. What is happening? You can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm. Yeah. Why are we cross-examining him? I mean, I know that there's false confessions and stuff like that, but... damn. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. Again, that's not what murder is. That's like lethal self-defense. It's manslaughter. And after that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you. Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir. I see. Then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness. Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. What I need here is more info to work with. This is bizarre. Okay, so it's not my normal duty. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir! I am in charge of hiring new recruits, sir! You hire? Yikes, now there's a scary thought. Evidence transfer was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir! The Blue Badger? Yes, sir! The lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir! Yay! I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transfer process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir. This guy, man, what do you even do? What do you even do in this case? I see. Sounds like a very, important mission. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there? And now we get to move on. So a suspicious man, checked him out. In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct? Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck. Is it behind the text box? Yes, it is. Okay, we're good. So then your ID number should be listed on here, right? There it is! I found it! This is the one right here! Could you please read us the number? Yes, sir. It's 4989596. That's my number, sir. I see. Huh? But the number that is shown as being used twice. Please explain, witness. It's no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room, and the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down. I see. So it was during that second time when... Yes, sir. That was when I spotted the man on the security screen. Okay. So we're missing the bunch of 7s, but otherwise, things seem kind of cleared up, I guess. Hello there, Alex, a Nocturnal Knight, so welcome to the stream. I was only doing what I was trained to do. I was attacked. So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir! A knife! Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you. What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into. That's when I reacted, sir! I swung my arms like an octopus? Alright, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand. Ah. Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be... When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. I fought for my life, then I did it. What exactly do you mean when you say you did it? I know I don't look the type, but I'm really into Kung Fu films, sir. Okay, but that doesn't mean he's into Kung Fu. The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him. You took his knife? I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. What? See. He must have been desperate. Yeah. The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood. Oh, ew. And then the next thing I knew... Yes? He punched me right in my face, sir! That's amazing. He's got a little thing. So after that I passed out. So he didn't kill the guy, he just got his ass kicked. About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious. Yeah, look at a clock when you wake up, you idiot. Oh, right. According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30. He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain. That's nice. I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir. Your mission? Yes, sir. The Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened. Yes, Your Honor, only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? He's got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins. With regard to that, sir... Nice grammar, by the way. Good move. Not having the ass, I appreciate that. Take a look at this! It was sent to my jail cell. An old-timey VHS tape, sir. Chief Gantz delivered it to me just this morning, sir. The Chief delivered it? What is that? A videotape? Hello there, Samuel. Welcome to the stream. And, yeah, this is my first playthrough. Yes, sir, that's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room. Objection! What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased. That's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at. Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim. Oh, please stop using that word, murder, sir. It scares me, even though he himself used it repeatedly. A video of a real murder? Just what are we getting ourselves into? Are we gonna actually have No way, it's video. I can't even believe it. It's gonna be like this legitimately terrifying jump. Wow. Oh no! Yeah, it's already over, isn't it? Get wrecked. Who even knows where Goodman went? Like, around the camera? Oh, Aurora Zephyr, you're wondering why they didn't make the whole game like this? Because they couldn't. This case has the new 3D graphics, but the first 4 chapters are like from a Game Boy Advance title. There was no way the GBA was doing this. Shocking. Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us? What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood? Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire Criminal Affairs Department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir. Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? That was amazing. Yes, well, anyway. This tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter in the evidence room and some sort of activity did take place. Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that all right with you, Officer Meekins? Yes, sir. As you wish, sir. Wow, that was a lot. So we're just going into a whole new thing right now. Oh, Neon Wave, some GBA stuff did have 3D graphics, but mostly racing games. Fair enough. But even so, I would not expect a video like that. So, Mystery Man. His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. Huh. Well. What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have to have been Detective Goodman. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. So, Mystery Man, here we go. His face can't be seen. Tell me, were you able to get a good look at him? At the face of the man who attacked you with a knife? Sir, if you must label people as having seen or not seen the man's face, I believe I would be classified as the latter? The latter? But you were standing right in front of him, were you not? More to the point, you are the person who fought him, aren't you? Oh, yes, sir. But I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir. I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking with them, you see? Yeah, that's a good trait for a police officer. Still, I'm sure it was him. I'd bet my badge on it. No question that the other person was Detective Goodman. But you don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face. Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, you must label people as having seen or not seen it. Since his face can't be identified in the video, only you can verify it. Oh, why is everyone looking at me? If I had to label your stares as disturbing or... Meekins. Eek. Having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now please be more certain when you testify. Yes, sir. You claimed the man who brandished the knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive it was him. He, but no one talks like that. He opened the locker, which required the fingerprint to do. About these lockers, is there no other way to open them? No, sir. I myself tried all kinds of methods in the past. They only respond to registered fingerprints, sir. I wonder what kind of methods he's tried. If the man opened the locker's lock, which only responds to its registered fingerprints, then he must be the person the locker was assigned to. Exactly my point, sir! And this too! The locker he opened is unquestionably good news. How do you know that information? I've heard rumors, sir. From people in the know, sir. People in the know? The workers in the department cafeteria, sir. They keep me informed. They also listen to my romantic troubles, sir. Thanks. For the record, the Open's locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. I verified this information through a more reliable source. So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprint. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. Okay. However, the most important detail is not shown in this video, the man's face. Sir! If I may say something, sir. Please do. After all, you are the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock, and it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can testify enough to this, sir. Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie. That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it. Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again. So is there a problem with the security video? I'm assuming there is one. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange. Is it the fact that the camera is panning back and forth? Strange. This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction? Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth? I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. He would want me to point it out. Very well, proposal accepted. Your proposal is acceptable. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. Okay. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of. Please tell me I'm allowed to fast forward and rewind as I please. I have to point out a problem in the video. This is the first time I've ever had to do that. You could do it, Mr. Wright! It's set up so you can oh my god! It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Let me try that again. Oh my god! There we go, better. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. Please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching this video. How did this guy ever become a police officer? Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman? Okay. X and Y. Oh, this is great. Alright. Actually, wait a second. Yeah, wait a second. It's already lit. Look at that. Take that! The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Officer Meekins. Sir, do you mean me, sir? As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. Oh yeah, the flashback. Yeah, look at that. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint if it's a match. Or if it's a match, comma, wait, the light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. Hello there, Fakafan and Wrath Dragon Knight. Welcome to the stream. Hello there, Shady Yoshi. Oh, I object to everything that hurts my case. Objection! On what grounds? It's devastating to my case. Overruled. Good call! If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. Am I just... Oh, I just gotta wait. Alright. Then, when the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's rewind to a little earlier. Oh my god, I already did this, dude. Guess I'm just sitting. Oh man. Alright. Here, notice the light? What's this? It's already lit. Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Nani? The little squeak. Order! Order! What's the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked. Oh, I know! It must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this. That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. Oh well, just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor? Yes. Why wasn't the locker locked? I'm assuming the door was open just a crack, but you couldn't tell from that angle. It's like that Seinfeld bit. This is the most sophisticated lock on the market, but it has one fatal design flaw. The door must be closed! So why wasn't the locker locked? Me, Your Honor? Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh? Oh, maybe something like jam the system sensor? Something jammed the sensor? Say, there's something else that seems out of place in this video. Yeah, I thought so too. There's gotta be another clue somewhere in this footage. Very well, let's inspect the video once more. Really? Alright. Oh, wait a minute. No, I think I already know what this is anyway. I noticed this before the fight started, and I'm sorry I missed that dialogue. I know what this is, because you saw, like, a glove obviously fell out of the locker when this guy opened it. I don't know how nobody reacted to that. Yeah, see that? Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. Oh god. Oh god. Just go. I pointed it out specifically. Hello there, Chief Medic Peru. Welcome to the stream. What's this? Something white fell out of the locker? Everything's white. It's a black and white video. But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are open. What? I often fall out and roll great distances when I open my car door, sir. What the hell? That's amazing! We can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with. Can we go back for a second? I super want to just discuss that. What do you mean? The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? Oh my god. Oh my god. What if we went even more slow? This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor. Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Oh my god. Show me that video. Instead of the door closing, my tie chokes me. But the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. Oh, so it's a rubber glove? It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator, but at the crime scene, there just might have been something that fits the description. But, sir, by insulator, you don't mean... Yes, it's exactly what I mean. I think I finally got this figured out. Very well. Will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck in the locker door? Officer report. I could check this for a single stab wound. ID. Would it be the evidence locker? Let me just make sure of something. Oh, there it is. How the hell did I miss that this entire... Oh, because it was one thing off. That's a dick move. Did you see that? See, I pressed left to go all the way past, and it just doesn't show up here. That was my problem. Boop. There it is. That... Oh. This... Alright. Alright. I'm sorry. Rubber glove. I found this near the locker. A thin rubber glove. But we can't be sure that was in the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. Oh! The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker, but that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. In fact, I did. I'm the murderer. Is this not so, Officer Meekins? Sir, it would appear so, sir. Damn, they snapped through that one real quick. Order! 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 So, are we to believe, then, that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman? Do not be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility, and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir, me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. Is this a joke? Very well, begin your testimony. Mystery Man 2. Okay. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. Okay, another relatively quick testimony. An ID card record. I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. There you go. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim. Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. That's pretty funny. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now let us move on to the cross-examination. Oh, goody. Here we go. Okay. So, unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this to be rock solid, do you? Yes, sir. Solid as stone, sir. If my hand wasn't wrapped in bandages, I'd even give the Viva Victory sign, sir. Couldn't he just use his right hand for that? Let's hear him out fully. As we've seen, one never knows what he might say until the very last second. Gotta use your ID card. Is that card hanging from your neck one of these ID cards? Yes, sir. This card right next to my cuff, sir. I keep it here so I won't ever forget it. But what if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that? Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck when I get out of my car? Well, the remaining time it's my ID card that gets stuck. So literally every time he gets out of his car, he chokes on something. Instead of the door closing, my ID card chokes me. Maybe I should just leave this one alone. At any rate, each police officer only has one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can attest to this. Please proceed with your testimony. There's a record of when an ID card is used. Let it be noted that this is the record the witness referred to. let me see. Yes, that would be it. Detective Goodman. What's the matter? According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here. I love that bow. So it is, Your Honor. That flourish. Not that prosecutor again. Hey, maybe he's behind all this. Being a prosecutor, he could hide the evidence. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Mommy, is that man in blue? Shh, don't stare at him. You got the wrong color, kid. It would seem the Inquiry Committee will want to speak with you again today. I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences. For now, let us continue with the cross-examination. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. It must be so difficult for him. So the detective would use his card. Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked that man, the man, to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you? Yes, sir. He didn't show me any ID card, sir. Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife. Maybe he just panicked. Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out. Mr. Wright, what do you think? I'm confused. What? The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth missed something like this. You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show them what we've got. Okay. It proves the man was Detective Goodman. You have to use your ID card to get in. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. But he didn't have a card. In fact, of course he didn't have a card because I have it. Because I found it in the damn parking lot. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. A lost item report. It's only half completed. But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Oh ho! Hello there, Sam. Welcome to the stream. And hello there, User Shadow. Welcome as well. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order! Order! So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Order! 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 Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo! Oh, bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. Hello there, Tristan. Welcome to the stream. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is... well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. Well, well, it seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Ah! I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered, and where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something, or else Lana... What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? I mean, this is pretty damning, so I think I'm gonna have to say something. Objection! One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing, and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. Yup, it did not show the actual murder. No, it most certainly did not show the actual murder. Rest assured, the video did not show the actual murder. However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor? If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean... Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh? Whom did you have in mind? Or whom do you? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Mr. Wright, this person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name? Oh my god, I could just pick anybody? I mean, there's a correct answer, we clearly just said the Texas Ranger. Take that! Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. Okay. Hey, here's a little bit of trivia for the chat. Can anybody tell me what subpoena literally translates to? Anyway, back in the lobby. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. Lana? You're the one who knows everything. Emma? You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Nope, I'm not interrupting anything, pals. I'm seeing some guesses in the chat, by the way. Produce the body, subtle, Pina, ha ha ha. To present, nope. I'll give it a little bit more time, see what happens. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. That was it? He really just disappears? Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. Oh, sub is below. Yes, it is. So below the penna, like, I mean, you're close. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, detective. You better be, pal. Hey, 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 hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked? Oh, oh-ho, oh-ho-ho, oh-ho-ho-ho, oh-ho-ho-ho-ho. You mean this, right? My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident? But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the chief prosecutor or a witness in that case. Miss Sky was a witness? Joe Dark killings. What the hell? But and again, below the court, no, it's like Pina, think like penalize, it's under penalty. As in, you're in trouble if you don't show up. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh, what? Now that I brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma, but why? Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? I don't know, unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as... the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark? No, Lana. That's over with. No! We're doing this again. We're bringing back another ancient case. Emma, wait! She ran away. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I better take a good look at this file. That's the to be continued? I guess this section is 2 to be continued, because I think we're supposed to still continue with the courtroom. This was like a one-room discussion. I'll go ahead and keep playing, instead of stop at my halfway point. Trial ladder, here we go. Boom. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand, the officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Yeah, boy! Takes a swig while he's on the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Damn. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. Oh, careful. For God's sake. Modern English will be fine. Day of the crime. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They say I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man. So if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Oh boy. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks in the evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Yeah, I can't wait. Keep a wary eye. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still, even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. You interred them? Videos and nothing aren't that useful. When the time come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So, in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room? 3 times a day. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you it ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. No desperados I know join the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner, can't say I do. Haven't been that crypt in weeks. We have your bloody fingerprint, dude. How does this guy avoid being fired? 2 security systems. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course, back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner, I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. What? That's quite, incredible. The sensors in the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? Moving on. Streetside Saloon. What were you doing at a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat that parlor's... Oh, I'm gonna ruin this one. Vongole, Vagnole, Sepia Pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edward says, "Did you not want to raise this here?" Yeah. Innocent traveling man. Out of ammo, Officer Marshall? That's right, partner. Or as you'd call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you'd better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Is that correct, Tat? Texans don't take orders from anyone? Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card on my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. Okay, so I've taken care of all of that. Right. Let me see something. I'll press the first statement again. He interred them, he deleted the tapes, so you don't physically enter the evidence room. I don't know how much this matters. Yeah, the analyze the same thing. I need evidence. Okay. In that case, he said he never shows up, but like, yeah, we have your damn fingerprints. Where is it? At the very end? Yeah. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds, about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. Huh? I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall. About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints, found at the scene of the crime. Oh boy, get ready everybody. Here we go. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be in the same place as the bloodstained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See? I had nothing to do with it. How'd you know the murderer was wearing gloves? The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy is hiding something. I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. Alright, time to press your luck. I mean, press your statements. Only natural for my fingerprints to be in the evidence room. That's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. Locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. Interesting. The print had been wiped on his own locker. Well, that's important. So the handprint was just happened to be in the same place as the blood. So what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened. The murder touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. Yeah, we already got that. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? They're unrelated. Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast while the other's a type of murder. He's right. One is a type of murder. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. Murder's wearing gloves. How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprints. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? Might as well press that too. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you could show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. I'll give it a shot. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Okay. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. This is gonna piss me off. Which locker was his? There's the glove. Anything with the paws? No. This is gonna make me mad. Which one was Marshall's locker? There's the unconscious Meekins, presumably. Oh! That was not here before. Whew, I got saved. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less, or fewer? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Yeah, exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Oh god, we gotta sit through the whole footage. Here we go. That locker with the white cloth sticking out, that was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it appeared. So what if my locker was open? That don't mean I'm the one who opened it. Discussing in this case so far, yes it does. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker, now prove it. Yeah, only the assigned detective's prints can open it. It's just like what the lockers are. A fingerprint sensor. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. Yeah, the locks aren't obvious. There are some people who don't know about them. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? That's great. Chewing tobacco? That's amazing. I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! I guess that counts. That's amazing. Order! 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 Witness, explain yourself! If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole! What? Please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we could figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet, Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right, the only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Well, yeah, if it's around a corner, then, like, Officer Marshall... Like, it would have to be just around the corner, wouldn't it? Take that! Officer Marshall was standing right here. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. Yeah, but we had a whole thing about I never saw his face. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes, and how did he respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me! Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. Ah, as you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim? I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beer, but you don't see me comply again. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Ah, this can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. Oh! I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise, but rather I should look for evidence that he came about because he was in a disguise. Why do you think this locker was open in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime, yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open this locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence that this video is my only shot. Okay, here we go again. Very well, let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. I think I know exactly where we're going for this one. It was a white cloth. And I actually did notice something even the first time in the video, but you only saw it for like a split second. Watch this. There. For some reason you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. Yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat? You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. Alright, it seems the time has come. Oh boy. Oh, just outright Marshall's confession. Yeah, catch it. I'm gonna see this video in my dreams. No freaking kidding. Marshall's confession, just straight up. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. Okay. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Alright. Pressing time. I had to do it that day. When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with a transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at myself one more time. At it myself, no matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner, that case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I... stole the ID. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool a security camera. And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office's parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could, because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins, and knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I'd better take another look at the files. Couldn't stand by and let it die. When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? Oh, wait, oh, I already did that, yeah. Whoops, I blew it. The incident's not over. What'd you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the room? No, I did miss something? Alright. No, I did this. Yeah, why does it care so much about it? We're good. Yeah, wasn't expecting Meekins. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would come in during that time. Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person, mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry I had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and... Escape. I knew about the camera. So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day, no murder. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where was that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Oh my god. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty? Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer? This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case, this one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident, you know why? But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial, something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is? I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I better take another look at the files. Okay. So... yeah, we covered all that. Is there anything to present? Yeah, look at the files. So, Joe Dark, serial murder, death sentence. Edward Jones, Edith Kirby, Jeb Bates, Jason Knight, Rachel Moss, Neil Marshall. Huh. Head prosecutor Edgeworth, witnesses Lana and Emma Sky. Investigators Demon Gant and Lana Sky. Head investigator Bruce Goodman, investigator Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. Oh yeah, Neil Marshall. Do I, like, present this? How do I do something with this? I might get penalty for this. Yeah, yeah. How do I, like, get Neil Marshall mentioned? Is this why? It's not a contradiction, but... okay, here we go. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall. Yeah, I'm sure you heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right, he was killed, and the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, then Deputy Chief of Police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed, at least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I've known my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with his resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. Oh! The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye. But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All the mysteries of the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel's star is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Really? Ah! I rest my case. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant... Oh. Your Honor, wait! Emma? The defense is an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense? Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking for is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now that she mentions it. The names of both Skye sisters were in that file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I could examine it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. Huh? So did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me. Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright, with regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use, but still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? I guess I have to object.
Objection!
This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans? Well, the thing that was taking up the entire shot constantly. What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. He is right in front of that handprint. Well, what? Ugh. Ugh. That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot in the locker. What? So that means... just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma. On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. Oh, so that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Just one moment, I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. Pure poppycock, pure codswallop. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice! But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. Alright. Uh-huh. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been... Detective Goodman, when he was really murdered! That's ridiculous! I refuse to accept your absurd claim! The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. My god, objections all the way down. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that, prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us. When did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place? There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place? Well, before Meekins got in, right? It's gonna be the record. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh! The ID card record! Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Miles Edgeworth! Just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. Or in his case, fortunately. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. September 7s. 7 sevens. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with September 7s. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777777777. That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Oh, really? I just assumed he did it right. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number, September 7, belongs to someone with the rank of captain or higher, someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes? No, not to you, to her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid, she's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number and it's not that. Don't play me for a fool, partner, it's not what I wanted to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least I did. Lana! I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During the trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look at me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye, and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't! I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order! 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 Oh my god, what an upset! Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. We would have to wait until the following day. If I press X, it skips the whole thing. It scares me. Oh my god! To be continued! What a twist! This is nuts. What a climactic conclusion to this particular stream. It's crazy. But alas, this is where I must take a bit of a break. This is where I'm stopping the stream for now. So thank you very much for joining and have a wonderful night.